Oh, what have I done? I didn't realize that so many people are going to be interested in this, but we're going to put together a bus routing. We're going to show you how to put together a bus route map. So, first thing you need to do is you need to have some data. And this is just some Google Sheets, it's some old data, but you need to have address, city, state, and zip code. And you can have as many data points as you want. You could have thousands if you're a bigger district. You could have 40 if you're a smaller district. Try to keep commas out of this data point because we're going to save it as a CSV, comma separated values. And so if you have commas, it screws up your data. And so before we do that, we're going to rename this just for the sake of the tutorial. Like I said, this is old data we used during the pandemic we took kids Sonic drinks, I think, one day. So route, learn to spell, tutorial layer. And so these are the locations we're going to be visiting. So you go to File, Downloads, and CSV, comma, separated values. And that's going to be down on the bottom of your Google browser. And then we're going to go to ArcGIS Online. Not my bank. Okay, ArcVest Online. Not ArcVest, I'm sorry, ArcGIS Online. And it may take a second. We're going to log on in, and you can get your credentials from your teacher or email Jerry Prince. He's our guru when it comes to all things logging in. So your content, I'm an administrator, so your content screen may look a little different, but don't worry about that. We're just going to go to map. You're going to have a blank map. And there's two versions right now. This is the newer version. I'm kind of old school. I like to use the classic viewer. You can still use the newer version. Things may just look a little differently, but the most important thing we can do is go to add layer. That's the most important button we have in ArcGIS Online. And we're going to add a layer from File. And then we're going to take our route tutorial layer. You can drag and drop it, but I just decided to do it the old school way. So you take it from your downloads, you open it, and you're going to import the layer into this map. And we're using addresses. You could use coordinates, like if you're not going from house to house, if you just depending on how your bus routes work. But you need to match up address, city, state, and zip code, which it does automatically. And boom, we have a bunch of dots. And we don't need like really unique dots. We're just going to keep them all the same symbol. But all of our dots are here. This is the Sonora area where we're at over by Beaver Lake. And we're going to save as. That way we can give our map a name. And so we're going to do like East Bus Route Tutorial. Give it some tags. So I'm going to put like Sonora East, Springdale, Joshua Worthy. And I think that's good. Should be good for tags. And always give it a summary just so that if some other student in your school decides to use your layer, they know what they're looking at. It's all the metadata that you need to have. So this layer is to showcase how to create a bus route layer. And so we've got our data. Like you've got a map. This is fantastic. And now we're going to go use our analysis tool. So you go to the layer that's under content. Make sure you're on the content tab. We're going to perform analysis. And so these are where all the powerful tools are. We're going to use proximity to plan routes because all these stops, it's very important. They're where what comes first, second, third, or whatever. So that's proximity. We're going to use our layer. You might have multiple layers. So example, you might have before school routes, after school routes, after or dismissal routes. Driving time, we could do walking time, but that doesn't make sense. We're going to do drive time. You need to find out where these buses are starting. So I'm going to start at Sonora Elementary. I'm just going to click where I am right now. But probably where your bus barn is because that's where, unless you have a specific route, maybe starting like a driver drove to the high school and they parked the bus at the high school, they may start there. But we're going to return to the same spot. Maximum number of vehicles. This is where you need to talk to your client. How many buses are in your fleet? How many drivers do you have? I think we're just going to do 4. But you can have as many as you need. Numbers of stops. So we have 43 stops total. But like if you look, some stops are going to take longer than others because the drive time's a little different. So I'm going to put maybe 12, 15, 16. 16 is good because that way nobody gets bogged down with like 30 stops and the other people have like 2. So 16 stops is fair. Time spent at each stop, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. If you think the time it takes for the bus to stop traffic, use the stop arm, the kids to get off the bus, and then to get traffic going again. And then you need to talk to your clients. How long can they legally run a bus route? I think there's a law out there that you can't be on a bus for longer than so many hours. But also like budgeting. If it's an after-school program, like can your bus driver work for 2 hours, 1 hour? What do you have in that after-school program or whatnot? I put 4 hours, but it's not going to take nearly that long. I think maybe an hour, hour and a half max. Then make sure you name your result layer. And so we're going to call this after school dismissal. But like I said, you might have before school bus routes, field trip routes, 3 o'clock dismissal. Oh, that reminds me. I need to go back up and change the time we're leaving. So we're not leaving at 8:49. We would leave at 3 or 3:15-ish whenever you guys are dismissing. Because it takes and then run analysis. But it takes into effect like traffic times, rush hour, and all the things. Now, this may take a second just because, I've got 43 stops. That's not a lot of stops, but if you have like 2,000 bus riders or whatever, it's probably going to take 15 minutes to generate this layer. So by using the magic of editing, I'm just going to go ahead and scoot on forward. All right, so we've got 2 new layers. We have a routes layer and a stops layer. So the assigned stops are each house or zone that you're going to be stopping at. And so like the purple route, you can see there are 16 stops and they're going to be driving for 2 hours. That sounds like a long time, so we might have to tinker with that one a little bit. Total travel time is 74 minutes. Total miles, 30 miles. And you can play around with this. We'll mess with get directions here in a little bit. Okay, so that is our assigned stop layer. And if you click on like the actual route, it will show you a list of each individual stop. Now, you may have to sort these like during stop time or depart time from ascending, so that because like they're not in order, if you notice like towards the right, but that's a pretty easy fix. If I do arrival time, a sort ascending, so like we start at 3 o'clock and then stop 1 is at 3:04 and then stop 2 is at 3:08. The next stop is 3:13, 3:19. And this isn't nice and cute and pretty. We'll show you what directions look like. It's kind of like MapQuest. You guys aren't old enough to know what that is. Your teachers know what it is, though. And so here's our after-school dismissal layer. And, of course, your routes also match with your stops. But we can, again, go through each route and see, okay, so 16 stops. Again, how long are they traveling? What is this, cyan? This teal cyan color. Total miles, 30 miles. So you can do gasoline cost there as well. So playing around with directions, you have your starting point, and then you put where your next available stop would be, and ArcGIS Online will calculate that for you. And if you look below, so that first stop is 4 minutes, and so you go east on West Robinson Avenue towards South Pleasant Street, and then after 0.17 miles, the traffic light continue forward at US, and like you just kind of go through that, and like obviously they're not going to have that out on their smartphone or smart device, but it gives you directions. Maybe if you had like a substitute driver that day. I think the important thing is, especially if you have good bus drivers, they know They know the lay of the land. They just kind of need to see, okay, where am I going and where are the list of places I'm going. But anyways, that's how you do a bus route project. That's how you could do a delivery project. You can even set it. I know UPS, they're really big on no left turns. And so if you really dig down in deep into it, you can program it to where you're only making right hand turns. It's easier for bus and all that. So anyways, I hope this helps and good luck.